Top-shelf sports talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
I'm hoping the NFL doesn't get any bright ideas from what they saw yesterday from FIFA. Welcome back to the sports bar. I'm not talking about the Muppet halftime show. I thought the halftime show, I'm not halftime show aficionado guy, but I thought that was fun. Move quick. You know, if you weren't into Justin Bieber, we're going to move this off real quick. Just that's always the key to me. Just kind of keep things moving. No, what I'm talking about, and maybe if you stuck with the end of the game, there was something that when you saw it, it's like, wait, what is that? And then the broadcast quickly kind of moved on to something else. So the game's over, and you're looking for the celebratory, everybody kind of gathering together for Spain on the field. And they show this image of this Argentinian player getting up in the face of a Spaniard. And it looks pretty heated. Like, wait a second, that doesn't look normal. And sure enough, it wasn't normal. As, hey, the FIFA-produced broadcast, they moved that off real quick. That wasn't Fox or Telemundo. That was FIFA, right? And they don't want you to see what exactly happened yesterday. But thanks to many cell phones in the audience, that we're getting views of this now. Argentina's Leandro Paredes grabs Eric Garcia of Spain by the throat. So I don't know what led up to that, but then when you see a teammate who just won a championship getting grabbed by the throat, okay, then it's on. You know, players just coming off the bench, and how can you tell? Because they're wearing the little vest there. And it doesn't go on that long, but you as the viewer, wouldn't you want to see that? Wouldn't you want to know exactly what's going on? That there was actually a brawl at the end of that game. And where I'm hoping the NFL doesn't get any bright ideas, because if you're watching a game on CBS or Fox, I really can't say ESPN because they're now merged with the NFL Network. I'm just hoping that we don't get this like sanitized version here of whatever it is that's going to be coming out. 585-866-4326 is our number. I love today because there's something going on in our building. 2 regional managers came into town, which usually it's a good thing, right? When they come in, and we just had like a little staff luncheon and just ducked out for a second or two, which means the room where Dan DeLorean normally does his audio editing, not available. So Dan, you're with us today, buddy. Are you going to be okay here?
I'll be all right.
You'll be all right? All right. Why isn't it you don't like hanging out in the studio?
I just like to get my work done on my own, you know?
Every other show, whether that's Le Batard, whether it's McAfee, like all the producers kind of hang out. And then like if something comes up, I can throw you the ball. But you hightail it out of here. There's nothing that says you have to be in here, by the way.
I know.
It's not Tim or I, right?
Neither one of you guys.
We don't smell or anything, do we?
No.
Okay, we're good.
You guys are good.
All right, we're good. Well, it's good to have you in studio
Thanks
today.
for having me, Gino.
All that. Tim is here as well in his Bonnie gear. We'll have his terrible take of the day. Next hour, I think it's kind of cool, right? Like, name a team that went back to old uniforms and the fan base didn't like it. Like, hey, Buffalo Bills, to go back to a red helmet, wink, wink, nod, nod, that would be kind of a cool thing. Like, generally speaking, that's always loved by a fan base, right? Particularly when the team won championships. Sidebar on that, the Bills are indeed, according to Pete Coelho, going to unveil an alternate uniform. So I've heard it's going to be the day before training camp opens, and we're all expecting the royal blue helmet with just kind of, it's like a zoomed-in Bills logo on the side, if you can imagine that. And just nickel uniforms, just gray uniforms. I'm going to reserve judgment until I actually see how they look. But just bringing this up because the Nighthawks did the popular thing. When they were winning championships, they were in teal and purple, or purple and teal, however you want to look at it. They're going back to that. They made the announcement. Now, I haven't seen it. Maybe we can get Dan Carey to let us know what these uniforms will look like. We'll get an off-season check-in from the Rochester Nighthawks coming up in hour number 2. We have time for your calls at 585-866-4326. We also have Tim's terrible take of the day. That's all coming your way next. My name is Gene Battaglia here on WGR Rochester.
CAM WBEE HD2 Rochester and everywhere you go at WGR Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester. Sports Update.
Good weekend for the Red Wings. They took all 3 from Jacksonville. Now 6 games coming up. First one tomorrow in Buffalo. The Wings back home coming up 8 days from now. All the action under the lights tonight in the majors, including the Yankees hosting the Pirates. Rochester Nighthawks announcing a uniform change. They're going back to the teal and purple of the heyday of lacrosse here in Rochester. Dan Carey, GM of the Nighthawks, to join us later this hour. Buffalo Bills rookies reporting to training camp tomorrow. Veterans report on July 28th. First practice at Fisher coming up on July 29th. Sports is brought to you by GetMyPerks.com, where today get 2 rounds for the price of 1 to Eagle Vale Golf Course. For this and other great deals, log on to GetMyPerks.com. Gene Battaglia, sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
You're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coat, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have things much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres, Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports bar for Rochester Sports Talk.
Hour number 2 from the High Fall Studios, where the sun is out, downtown Rochester. Gene Battaglia with you. You can always give us a call, 585-866-4326. Hit us up on X. WGR Rochester is our handle. We're on YouTube and Twitch. Gene Battaglia, Tim Schneider, Dan DeLorean here, as we mentioned in the update. Uniform change, perfect time to announce these things, right? Because, hey, we're coming off a FIFA high, right? World Cup high. That was a lot of fun, the whole tournament overall. Some things, all right, the VAR, not great, right? But name me one thing that doesn't have a little bit of controversy, a little downside. So overall, I'm very proud of how our country printed here, how we represented here from a sporting community. This is how it's done. These are our venues. These are our fans. Welcome on in, everyone. So I think let's kind of take a bow here. Like, don't ignore critics, right? Like, we did great here. And I'm hoping that FIFA recognizes this and gets North America back in the rotation as soon as possible. That would be the year 2038, right? 2030. My gosh, already looking at that. That's on 2 continents, Spain being the headliner on that side of the pond, Argentina on this side, 2034 in Saudi Arabia, and the next one up for grabs is 2038. I'm thinking more like the next decade, but you know what, Tim? Let's just start saving our money right now, because we can set long-term goals, right?
Life experiences,
right,
yes.
Life experiences. Do you need this like product? Do you need this? No, I need experiences. I don't want to have any regrets when my ticket is called here and they say time is up here on this planet. Very morbid here on a sunny day. I shouldn't have gone that direction. You're welcome to join us here. We have Tim's terrible take of the day coming up. Before that, I feel like this is a story that was a little bit off on, because I thought All-Star break in Major League Baseball, hey, particularly when the 2 semifinals are done, Thursday would have been the ideal day for LeBron James to say, yes, I'm going to be a Sixer or a Warrior or whatever the hell it was. And we discussed this last week, because when there was a false headline generated by AI suggesting on the PTI broadcast that LeBron was a Warrior, okay, nowhere in that podcast did Tony Kornheiser, Wilbon was off, suggest that this was happening. No, it was literally a bad AI. But the prediction markets all of a sudden put the Warriors in front. This is the day and age we now live in, okay, where things can be swayed. And we'll get to the NFL story here in a little bit, why that is a big deal, that an NFL executive is under investigation for wagering and leaking information. That is a big deal. But the take here is on LeBron James. LeBron, please. And if you think this isn't a domino effect, Tim, I'm going to read you the quote from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. As pretty much thanks to Fanatics Fest, there were a lot of people that were available for comment last week, right? During a slow time of year, we all kind of welcome that in the sports calendar. When I read you this, there is one word in this that changes everything, that just jumps off the page to me, right? Where Adam Silver was asked, hey, what about LeBron not choosing a team yet? Adam Silver, quote, I would like him to make his announcement already so that we can finish the schedule. Because as you might imagine, the teams are calling us, the networks are calling us, and everyone wants to lock in the schedule. It'll influence how we set the schedule, how we set opening week, Christmas Day, etc. Tim Schneider, what is the key word in there that just I didn't know Adam Silver needed to toss that in there. Already. Enough already.
You're right.
When you say the word already, you're pissed. Like for Adam Silver, who I don't think he's a good commissioner, right? I'll just kind of come out and say it. He's got some problems. I don't know if he's inspiring people, right? Things kind of drag in this league. But he let his guard down, and I'm like, make the announcement already. Like for me to say this, that's one thing. You're the commissioner. That is one of, if not the all-time greats in the NBA. And literally, LeBron could just get to the end of this. It won't happen, but could you imagine he just says, you know what?
Yeah, I'm good.
F y'all. I'm done. Like, there is that, how Rory, called out to Shambo. There's a little performative nature here for LeBron. Like, what is it in your process that you need to figure out where you're going next year? Like seriously, what is it? Draft is over. You met with all the teams. Is it you're trying to squeeze more money out of a team? Are you trying to dictate that you get more personnel? What is it? What is it that you want to make up? But for Adam Silver to say, make the announcement already, which, okay, now this is an issue because last week, hey, we had the NHL schedule release, and that always kind of happens right around the Major League All-Star break. One thing we didn't ask for and we didn't want was the 2027 Major League All. Wasn't that hilarious? As soon as we got off the air Thursday, here's our schedule for Major League Baseball, everybody. Why do they do that? I can't even think about, September baseball. And yet here you are announcing a schedule that anybody that's a baseball fan would say, oh, yeah, those games in March and April that you're touting, they're not happening. But here's the NBA, who, you do count by my finger here. August is 1, September is 2. October. They are less than 3 months away from the regular season. And literally you're holding this up for LeBron. Adam Silver, come on. What is it? Because LeBron is not going to Memphis or Portland or some team that's completely off the radar. Stop. You know the teams he's going to go to. And every one of those teams should be on the radar for some primetime games. Golden State, Philadelphia. Cleveland was a conference finalist. So I'm not buying this. You can put this out, unless the networks are saying, hey, if this could be it, say Cleveland is on there. It's not a big market. Cleveland on Christmas Day, or can we get another team in there? Oh, Cleveland with LeBron. Okay, definitely we got to get that on there. That would be like LeBron on Christmas Day at Madison Square Garden, noon tip. I mean, or that becomes kind of a less desirable matchup. Maybe they're tweaking it to that extent. But I just found that hilarious that Adam Silver said, I would like to make his announcement already. Oh, okay. Pick a sport right now. Actually, Roger Goodell did suspend Tom Brady, now that I think about that. Maybe Adam Silver isn't is underrated as a commissioner. 585-866-4326. The Knox changing uniforms. We've got more soccer takes for you as well. And it's now time for the show to go sideways here.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
It feels like we're a little bit fired up here in the sports bar on this Monday afternoon, and unfortunately, I have to keep it going because you mentioned earlier in the show the Cam Scadaboo incident. It's one thing to be reckless as a football player on the field. That's fine. That's how people get by. But you cannot be reckless off the field while showing up other people, including Harbaugh. You cannot show off your surgically repaired leg and then botch it. You were fine, healthy, fine. But what if you tore it or broke something and ended your career being a smartass in public, on camera? What are they doing? Why do athletes behave this way?
Well,
stop being a punk.
Right. So you have to go back. Like at the time, this player was top 10 in his position. Imagine we had camera, but at that point, like, I don't know if everybody had a cell phone rolling tape as they are now. Like everybody has a ring cam these days. Like, imagine we had video of Jason Paul-Pierre blowing his hand off.
For real.
Like literally, that is the dumbest thing an athlete, like, okay, yes, you got back on the field, but was it ever quite the same? You also did damage to your reputation by doing that. And if you're not familiar, so Cam Scadaboo, I mean, last year, fun player, but the way he plays the game, taking the concussions. Oh, concussions not okay. You know what? That's your brand. You're talking a tough game, but he had a gruesome injury last year. Gruesome. Like, his knee literally exploded. I hated to see that because he was a fun player. But you know what? With science being the way it is now, you can get back there. And here's Scadaboo yesterday. Excuse me. Video came out of this yesterday. I don't know when it was, but it was at Fanatics Fest where he's doing a backflip. And he doesn't land the backflip. Wow, what a shocker. Number one, it's tough to do backflips even though you are a professional athlete. And here's Scadaboo falling backwards. And then he had to come out afterwards. Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, you're dumb. Like, honestly, like, if you're John Harbaugh, let's kind of like, he's a hard ass. He's the guy that works hard, makes his team work harder than anyone else in training camp, where it's important to win preseason games, and it's important to callous. Callous is the word he would always use. Well, if you're going to be that much of a hard ass, Tim, I would think this is the time where he can make an example. And you know what? First day of training camp, you're suspended, or you're just going to sit out practice, or you're not even going. I don't know what the punish would be particularly, but I think this is an opportunity for Harbaugh just to throw his weight around, because Harbaugh, what is he, a soothsayer? Literally, he said this at training minicamp last month. Hey, I don't want to see our guy doing backflips. And he goes and does a backflip. 585-866-4326. That is our phone number.
Not even a good backflip, by the way.
No, right. You got to stick the landing on that. And even if you stuck the landing, I think we'd be talking about, what is it you're doing here? That's ridiculous. Shouldn't be kind of doing this. Live Golf was sued today for what it's worth. Somebody, they didn't pay somebody an invoice. And a lot of people have pointed out, now that's 2 calendar years that the majors didn't have a Live Golfer win the tournament. Live Golf is gonna die, and nobody is going to really care all that much. And to me, it's kind of a relief because that money isn't endless. I thought once the Public Investment Fund got tired with golf, maybe what's the one sport you can kind of buy your way into? I don't know. Did Indiana football, is Kirk Cincinnati a really, really, really good head coach? Or is it that he's got, like, literally unlimited financial backing from Mark Cuban? That's an interesting
Makes things easier.
Yeah, it makes things easier, right. So, like literally, I thought, well, if the Public Investment Fund ever want to sink their claws into college athletics, that's going to be kind of a problem there. But let them go away. Let them gear up for the World Cup in 2034 in Saudi Arabia. So that's I'm welcoming that for sure. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. We mentioned the Nighthawk uniform change that'll be kind of coming up here. That is something that every fan base welcomes, right? Name me your favorite team, and you want them to go back to the uniform of either your childhood or the uniform when they were winning championships. Like, nobody clamors for the Detroit Pistons to go back to the teal. Remember they tried that? Like, why would you do that?
The Grant Hill years.
Yeah, that was terrible. Nobody mentions that. But you hear people every once in a while, as bad as those Barney uniforms were for the Raptors, like, okay, like if they brought them back on a semi-permanent basis, people would kind of like that. For the Nighthawks, I think it's just listening to your fan base. Also, too, like the colors of the Seneca Nation are purple, so it does make sense. So now does purple become the main? Before it was teal as the primary color, and then purple was the accent on the Nighthawk uniform, and I'm wondering if it kind of gets reversed. So we have that to discuss. We've got tomorrow marks the kind of sort of the return. Rookies will be working out, not here out in Buffalo, but rookies will be in the area for the Buffalo Bills. And this is a year, particularly on defense, where you're going to need some of those guys. You're going to need a TJ Parker, Caleb Illiams-Orr. Rookies are going to have, I didn't even mention the corner there, IGB, Davison Igbinosun. If the Bills are going to get where they need to go to, how do they go about it? Well, the answer is simple. It's contributions from guys we don't know anything about. And right now we project the best case scenario for every player. Every team does that. Every fan base does that. This is why it's the season of optimism. When the sun is out and training camp is here, and as long as your team doesn't have, injuries left and right, as long as there aren't holdout issues, and I'm checking my notes here, doesn't seem to be any holdout issues. We had the James Cook thing, but really we kind of knew that was going to get resolved, right? Didn't really kind of fear. And the injury concerns, Michael Hoyt coming back from an Achilles? Okay, well, yeah, let him come along at his own pace and he'll contribute. Josh Allen on the foot seemed to be okay. We'll talk to our injury expert, Charlie Schumann, former Penn State player, on Wednesday. That seems to be a story we just kind of skip over because he's Josh Allen. But it is unusual just, hey, there's a bone in your foot. We're just going to kind of take that out. Okay, great. Long term, is there any ramification? I'm not worried about it. Just to cut to the chase there. But the point is that for the Buffalo Bills, what are the concerns? Internally, it's just the change. The concerns are injury. They're not holdout. They're not contract related. It's the, hey, will this defense come together over time? It's a plan. Will the plan come together? It's not going to come together the way they envision it. There's going to be some changes. There might be some guys that don't step up the way they would. There might be some guys that surprise. Like the plan never goes according to what you think it's going to be on paper. But the offense, we know what to expect on the offense. Really, we do. The top 10 offensive line with a top 5 running back, a middle-of-the-pack receiving core, top 10 tight end room? Notice I said room there because I think they will continue to use the 3 tight ends. And of course, he's the MVP favorite at quarterback in Josh Allen. And if Josh Allen cannot get hurt this year, just stay healthy, right? And you're winning games, he'll get the credit for it. And he'll gladly share that with other people. Somebody was asking me, not from the area, about Josh Allen. And it's really remarkable that here we are, somebody drafted in 2018. Has there ever been a Josh Allen quote where you said, I don't know, or Josh Allen interaction with a teammate that you say, I don't know? The thing that Diggs did to him on the sideline in the Bengal game, that didn't look good, but Allen didn't take the break. He knows what to do and say in front of the public eye. But you don't hear anybody bad-mouthing the guy. I mean, it really is. We're going to get 10 years from now, and we're going to be like, wow, how lucky were we to watch that at quarterback? And trust me when I tell you, that's not true of every quarterback in the league. And maybe we'll get to a day where there is some sort of controversy or he'll do something that, might get under his skin. But for now, the prime is still here, but it's not going to last forever. We'll talk to Dan Carey. He's the GM of the Rochester Nighthawks. We have time for your calls, too. The Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 585-866-4326. Our handle on X is WGR Rochester. My name is Gene Battaglia here on Rochester Sports Leader.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
It's a good weekend for the Red Wings. They took all 3 from Jacksonville, putting up 11 in the finale on Sunday. Monday, as is typical, the team is off. The team opens a series in Buffalo tomorrow. Syracuse coming in a week after. Rochester Nighthawks announcing they're going back to teal and purple as the primary uniform colors beginning this season. We'll talk to GM Dan Carey coming up next year in the Sports Bar. Baseball tonight in the majors, all the action under lights, including the Yankees. They're taking on the Pirates at the stadium. Dodgers are in Philadelphia. Boston looking to make it 14 in a row. The Red Sox hosting the Orioles. Sports is brought to you by GetMyPerks.com, where today get 2 rounds for the price of 1 with card to Eaglevale Golf Course. For this and other great deals, log on to GetMyPerks.com. Jeep Taglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Top shelf sports talk. You're hanging out in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester.
I love it when a team listens to their fan base. And when new owners came in for the Rochester, they're like, hey, can we go back to the uniform colors? And I didn't come out and say, yeah, this was happening. But so today I don't think is really that much of a surprise, but it's welcome news. GM Dan Carey kind of joining us. Dan, thanks for joining us, Dan. And as you've seen, as you've seen, like the feedback amongst your fan base, this is all positive. People wanted this. How much did you hear? Hey, let's change up the uniforms here for this season.
Yeah, I think start back at back in 2019 when the new Nighthawks came in. Pagulas purchased a team, and it was an expansion team at the time. I think there was still some confusion in the market, and people just weren't exactly sure, how it all worked. So the old Nighthawks relocated to Halifax, Nova Scotia. The Pagulas wanted to change the colors to what we just were, right, in that kind of that army green, and it was a different look, different feel. But the Seneca Nation purchasing the team, they felt it was really important to go back to what we had before. Just it ties into the community and the history of the Nighthawks here, even though we are a new franchise from 2019. I think it represents the city well, and it's a tie to what, the accomplishments and the history of everything within the Nighthawks organization prior to us taking over. And I'm excited about it. I think it's a fresh look. We kept our logos, which I think is really important for us to do. But getting to the teal and purple is something that we're all excited. And listen, I think it's important to listen to our fans and know the pulse of our fan base. But, it's not like we got to make the decisions what we think are best for our organization. But it did help. And I think it shows the respect that we have for the fans who have been supporting this team for a long time.
So the purple and teal. And I'm going to ask you questions which you might have to say, I can't answer that, Gene, but we're trying to envision what these uniforms will look like. Is it a complete throwback? Is it just something altogether new? Like, how would you describe what we're going to see on the floor here, Dan?
I think it's a mix of both. And, they are a different design than what we've been wearing. And we won't be able to unveil those until about October. So we're working with a new company that's going to be, we already have the design. We've got it. We've got the jersey already planned and approved and all that. But as far as when they arrive, we don't really have much to kind of do with that. So we got to wait until they're ready, which will probably be sometime in October. So we'll have another kind of announcement, and we'll unveil our jerseys whenever that may be. But excited to show our fans what that's going to look like. And I'd say it's kind of connects what we had to what we were wearing, and I think everybody's going to be excited. I love them. I'm really pumped, and anybody who's seen them internally, they're really excited about it. So we spent a lot of time back and forth and a lot of calls, and kind of went through a bunch of different options, and where we ended up is something that I'm proud of and excited about.
Yeah, because you think back to the heyday of indoor lacrosse, and again, it wasn't the current franchise, but it is our fan base, it is our town. And you think of John Grant Jr., think about some of the players. One guy I had forgotten was actually on that team, Troy Cordingley. the new head
Yeah.
coach. So, like, Dan, we haven't talked on air since we talked to Troy, and obviously he's very excited about it. What led you to the hiring of Troy Cordingley?
So we had some player feedback at the end of the year, and unfortunately, it was a difficult year for us. It wasn't what we were expecting. It didn't go as planned, and I think everybody within our organization, especially our locker room, felt that we underachieved. And sports are difficult, right? To win and to win a championship, you get one team at the end of the year, but we definitely felt like we underachieved. And I don't want to say we took any steps backwards. It just things didn't go our way, and it kind of snowballed. So getting feedback from our players and what they were looking for and what they were needing, one of them being accountability. They really, these guys want to win. They care so much about each other and this team and this organization, and our primary focus is winning. And these guys are ready to win. They want to win now. And with Troy coming in, he's going to hold these guys accountable. He's going to make sure that they play the right way. Practices are going to be hard. He's going to push these guys, and I think a more player-led focus is going to be something that he's going to be, kind of working with these guys on. And there's some of our guys within our roster have won championships, but the guys who haven't, we need to make sure that they know what that feels like to be pushing themselves and competing for a championship. And he's as competitive as they come. He's got so much fire, and just his mindset and how he does things is, like, he's pushing me right now to be a better GM and to make sure that we're putting ourselves in the best position possible to win. So every conversation, every call we've had with our staff, it's been exciting and refreshing, and knowing that he's all in on this. So I'm pumped. He's going to be a guy that's really going to help lead this team.
Dan, when we go back like 1 year, I was joking earlier in the show, like this was around the time last year where, I don't know, I call you, like, you're probably like, oh, no, I don't have any update, Gene, or whatever. But the point was, this time last year, we were hopeful. We still didn't know. It wasn't until August that everything, and in professional sports, people might say, oh, that's no big deal. The games don't start until the end of the year. Like, no, it actually is a big deal. You have so much to do. How much further ahead are you right now this time this year as compared to last year?
Yeah, I think just even mentally knowing that, hey, we're a team, right? We're moving forward. This is something that we're planning and preparing, and this is another one of those options and things that we had to make the decision on to make this change, which has been a lot of work for our front office staff, and there's a lot to do. So again, going through this, we're still in year one of our new ownership. This is what we had to do and felt like it was really important. So going into next off season, it's not going to be a focus as far as what we just went through with our color change, but it's given us an opportunity to really focus in on the important things, and when it comes to our team, like, it's exciting knowing that we have clarity. Last year it was really difficult for everybody, not knowing what the next day was going to hold and whether we were going to be an organization that stayed together or not. So it's something that I'm really grateful that the Seneca Nation has invested their time and money and made this something it's very important to their community, and they know it's very important to the community of Rochester, which ultimately that's the support that we need is having an owner that cares a lot about not only the team itself but the community that they're a part of. So way easier this summer as far as the mental side of it, and a lot of work to be done. Like, we've got a lot of opportunity ahead of us to make the team better, but then to fill that building. Like, we've already our sales exceeded from the year prior to last, and we're going to continue to do that and want to see that growth year over year.
Yeah, and now one of the things we're looking forward to is a schedule, but and this is where I'm just curious, because where Rochester was in this boat last year, and it worked out, and as you mentioned, because of ownership stepping up, and we're very excited about that. The news isn't good in Philadelphia, right? So that's question one. Does that franchise go away altogether? And then now the Ottawa franchise, they're no longer playing where the Senators play. Is that franchise in jeopardy? Where are we at with the number of teams coming into this season, Dan?
So that is yet to be seen, and I know our commissioner, which he has done an amazing job to do everything he can to make sure that we're in the best position possible as a league. Again, big part of the reason why we're still here in Rochester is because our commissioner Brett Frood. So he's got his plate is very full when it comes to doing what he needs to do to help those organizations. And from our standpoint, we're optimistic and believe that they're going to be competing again next year. Don't have any clarity or anything to share on that. So that's expectations, but things still have to get finalized, and I'm expecting, we should know in the next month of where they're going to end up and what that's going to look like. So, we'll focus here to make sure we're doing everything we can to make our team better. Brett's been working around the clock, I think, for the last 3 years on certain situations that, it's an unfortunate thing that he has to kind of deal with that. But there's also a lot of positives that are going to come into this year with some of the things that we're going to be unveiling. It's not for me to share at this point, but there's going to be a lot of things that I think are going to help move our league forward. So exciting times. Obviously, we want to see those teams continue to operate and, yet to be seen on that. But, for us here in Rochester, lots to focus on and lots to be excited about.
Well, tell me about the pop-up sale tomorrow at the Blue Cross Arena. So folks who aren't familiar, with the Nighthawks don't have the brick-and-mortar team store, but tomorrow you will have something at Blue Cross Arena. Is any of the new merch going to be available, or is this kind of clearing out the old stuff here, Dan?
No, it's going to be available. Yeah, we've got a bunch of merch coming in. We'll have a bunch more coming in the fall, but I think it's we needed to have this, right? This is part of our launch and making sure that when we announced that we had enough of the new merch that people are looking to see and purchase. So we've got our youth camp that starts tomorrow. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the Blue Cross Arena, and we'll have our merchandise set up in the front atrium there of the arena. So not our regular, we usually are up the stairs, but we will, we'll have that open and exciting for us to be able to get that out there and have people, come in and, it's some really cool stuff. I think my kids got a sneak peek there yesterday, and my son walked out with a hat on backwards, and I grabbed a shirt myself, and we just got our staff the new digs, the new colors. So everybody's excited here, and you get a chance to get down there. We actually just started an online store, which we never had before as well. So that's been up for a little bit, but we just put all of our new merch on there too. So that's you can find that on our website.
Yeah, I've got some time. And by the way, the website already changed colors there. So it is. It's all. It's good to see the purple and teal back here. Gives me some time here to think. All right, if I'm going to buy a new jersey, do I want Connor Fields? I love Rylan Hartley. Do I go with the local kid, Blaze Reardon? I'm trying to figure out what direction I want to go here, Dan.
Gene, I think you can buy them all.
Buy them all.
Well,
yeah. Well, I don't know if my wife would allow that. That might be trouble with the audit, but I think I got to pick one. I got some time to think about that.
All right, you got some time.
Yeah, Dan, thanks for your time, and let's do this again soon here before the season.
I appreciate your support. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Dan. Dan Carey, who is the GM of the Rochester Nighthawks, bringing back the teal and the purple, and now that just kind of feels right. And I don't want to dump on the Pagulas. None of us should. If it's not for them, then we don't have lacrosse here today. Kurt Stiers had enough with the administration of our town at that point. And I mean, we could talk about it, and I don't have the full story of how that kind of unraveled, but he was moving that team. That was it. The Nighthawk franchise was moving to a smaller market with bigger taxes and everything else in Halifax. And there was no team here. We were all kind of wondering. And if it wasn't for the Pagulas saying, you know what, we'll write a check. We'll have an expansion franchise. And Terry Pegula spoke at that press conference. I remember it was a September day and right on the banks of the Genesee, and called it a donation. Like, okay. Well, I think for Seneca Nation, they recognize like there's a dual purpose, right? And we should be thankful that they stepped in to help fill this void. 585-866-4326. As, boy, this time next week, we're previewing. Well, we're going to talk Bills every day leading up to the preview of camp, right? But your calls, your comments, your takes, 585-866-4326, as well as we'll tell you what's coming up on the show tomorrow. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
You're in the best local sports talk in the Flower City. The Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR. Rochester.
You know, one thing I think, whenever a player says they're injured, you as a fan or in the media, fans can be skeptical, but in the media we have to kind of just take a half step back. And when Shohei Ohtani opted not to go to the All-Star game, but then he's hitting a home run against Arizona the weekend before, you're like thinking, okay, that doesn't add up. What's going here? That's skeptical, but then he's saying there's something wrong. Well, Shohei Ohtani, who, at one point was looking like, my gosh, is he going to get votes here for the Cy Young? I think it's Mizorowski's to lose. By the way, Mizorowski tonight against Freddie Peralta. What could go wrong as a Met fan? I don't know. The horror season will continue tonight for the Mets in Milwaukee. But Shohei, bringing this up, he is not pitching against Philadelphia. That sucks. Like, he's going to be off the mound indefinitely. He has irritation in the left knee. This sucks. So, does this mean the Dodgers won't be a first place? They're going to be in first place. They will be certainly getting back minimum to the NLCS. But seeing Shohei, the two-way player, I'm wondering if we don't see this until September. If you've got irritation in the left knee, then you know what? That left knee needs to really, really be good. So let him do some DHing and let that calm down. What kind of sucks about this is, does it not feel like the Dodgers and Philadelphia will be the NLCS? I think the AL is fascinating. The AL is so wide open right now. The Red Sox, barging through the door to, put up their hand and say, no, we want to be invited to this party. Still, the Red Sox are only 2 games above 500. That's not great, but they're very hot right now. Milwaukee might have something to say about that. And for Mizorowski and the Brewers, they will win that division. They might win enough games to get a first-round bye. And then you just have to win one series to get back to the NLCS. Yeah, I said back. You almost forget that Milwaukee was actually part of that last year. 585-866-4326 is the number to call. Tomorrow on the show, we will talk to Joe DiBiase, who you hear on our station in the morning, as what on earth is happening up in Winnipeg. Here it is, mid-July, and oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Connor Hellebuyck's still a Winnipeg Jet. When you hear the story that Connor Hellebuyck would welcome a trade to Buffalo, wherever that story came from, I don't think that's welcome news. Like, literally, you are driving up the price on the Sabres by letting it be known that, okay, like the one thing that you didn't think would happen, it'll happen. It'll also, like, just tell other teams to step it up, too, in terms, because they're not going to only just be Buffalo on that. But did the Sabres do enough? And also, hey, we are on the edge of training camp for the Buffalo Bills. And I think this happens in our cycle where, hey, we get to the end of the spring sessions, the draft is over, free agency's over. For the Bills, can we recalibrate? Can we get back and looking at what needs to happen for this team to finally take that next step? I was in a meeting earlier today here in the office, and we met the new regional manager. His name's Spack, and he's based out of Pittsburgh, but he grew up in Fredonia. Didn't go to Fredonia, grew up in Fredonia. But he asked the question, and you two knuckleheads here, Timmy and Dan, you're not eligible because you're both not Bills fans, okay? But what is the more painful loss? Is it Super Bowl 25? Is it 13 seconds? Like, this is a Bills fan base that we are so tortured by losses that we name them. Notice, like, we didn't even say home run throwback, right? You could say that too, because if the Bills win that game, I believe they beat a young Peyton Manning the next week on the road, and I do believe they go to the AFC Championship game and win in Jacksonville. I will take that to my grave. Again, another morbid take. What am I doing here with that today? I said it was Super Bowl 25. And maybe that's just me, Gen Xers, saying this. You had one play to win a championship. One. Yeah, for Argentina yesterday, there was a player like right in front of the net in stoppage time. They're down 1-0. Messi with the cross, and the shot goes over the crossbar. And that could have been it, right? But that doesn't win you the game. Scott Norwood wins you the game. Scott Norwood puts that through the upright, and everything changes from that point. 13 seconds. Well, 13 seconds, you win that game. I don't think the Bills go back home and lose to the Bengals that week in the AFC Championship game. But the Chiefs lost to the Bengals. I don't think the Bills, if they get by that, I mean, do you get by the Rams in the Super Bowl on their home field? Well, it was interesting. It was right down the middle, as you could expect in the meeting. Like, you know, people were like, nope, 13 seconds. And for me, it'll always be Super Bowl 25. And I have that on tape, and I never, ever, ever, ever watched it. not at all in the least. So we'll talk a little football on the show tomorrow. Joe DiBiase, some Bills, some Sabres talk here, the Sports Bar on WGR Rochester. 585-866-4326 is the number. Will we have a LeBron decision by tomorrow? No, we will not. I just thought it was hilarious that Adam Silver, you could say I'm taking it out of context. I'm not taking it out of context. We would like a decision already. All you had to say is we would welcome LeBron's decision. That's it. Period. End of story. When you say decision already, kind of a little bit of a jab there. And so you know what? Kind of familiar with the way LeBron thinks. LeBron reads that quote. LeBron's going to say, you know what? I was planning to announce it on July 21st. Now you're going to have to wait till August 1st. F y'all. Would that surprise anybody if we got to August 1st?
No.
Not at all. Not at all in the least. So we've got that storyline to kind of follow as well. Also, Penfield Little League didn't quite come up with it today, but what an experience. We were joined earlier by a friend of the show. He works for us, for crying out loud. Sells hats here, Richard Nightingale, where his son was playing that tournament down in Staten Island. And I didn't even get into this with Rich. I'm like, how do you know how good these teams are? Oh, no. Like how they have max preps. There's some sort of version of that for Little League, where literally you can watch film on opposing pitchers if that team participates in that. Okay, is that a little too much?
Yeah, probably.
For 10, 11, 12-year-olds. The idea that, hey, we didn't even talk any golf today, which was great, right, when you have Rory slapping down DeChambeau the way he did. But we had a winner who didn't literally play a professional tournament until he was 17. Like, that can actually happen? This is me being sarcastic. Like, that can actually happen? Like, somebody picks up the sport for fun later in life, and it wasn't a parent driving them around Timbuktu and here, there, everywhere? If you missed any of today's show, it's inside the Odyssey app. We're on 1 to 3 locally here in Rochester, Monday through Friday. And if that doesn't make sense for you, because, I don't know, you have a job, you work, well, here's what you do. You just download the app. You can listen back to it anytime. If you missed interviews, you can also consume them in bite-sized form. Is Dan DeLorean? Nod your head, yes or no. Do we have that up? Yes, it's up. Look at that. Dan, bam, bam, bam. Yes. The Dan Carey interview from earlier today talking about the uniforms, that's up on our website, but you can get it wherever you get your fine audio. Dan, thank you. Thank you to Tim Schneider, and thank you for listening here today. The Sports Bar coming up next. Shope and the Bulldog. My name is Gene Battaglia, and this is Rochester Sports Leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950. Streaming for free inside the Odyssey app. The Sports Bar on WGR Rochester.
So much action, we couldn't fit it all in one app. Take WGR.